Welcome to Hack and Grow Rich. My name is Bart Baggett. I'm your co-host in this podcast. We appreciate you being here. Every week we attempt to bring you cutting-edge hacks on life and money and wealth and business and entrepreneurs. And today is a really cool show with a lot of personal stories. And I think you'll walk away with some hacks to land yourself on television. My co-host is Cheyene. He is the author of Billion and the founder of something called Herbal Ecstasy. We'll get into that about his first life of his many lives and careers. Shaahin, what do we have planned today that is so exciting? We both get to share some personal stories.
Well, Bart, we are going to cast a line and try to reel in a whale, one of the largest talk show hosts of the 1990s. I know you've been on his show. I've been on his show. I write about it in my upcoming book, Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult. Montel Williams, who really, after reading more about him, it's kind of evident that the dude is he's like a legit war hero and like a legit military serviceman. So I'm excited to see if he will take the bait, but I'm also excited to see if we can maybe further bait him to come on our show and talk to us after.
Well, I think a lot of people will come on the show when we find out what we're doing. But let me just frame this. So how this benefits you, besides some really cool stories, is we're going to shout out a public challenge to Montel Williams. But what you can take away from this is we're going to show you how you can hack daytime television and news televisions to get free publicity, get millions of dollars of free publicity, if you have a great product. And I know that we've both done this. Now, times have changed profoundly since the 80s and 90s, which the only game in town was daytime television. I can throw out names like Lisa Gibbons and Charles Perez, which none of you even remember, but these were the king and queen of daytime television. And now you've got the doctors and the medical shows and The View, very similar. And so one of the things, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're an author or speaker or anything, if you can get a few TV shows under your belt or radio interviews, it puts you in the category of B-list celebrity or C-list. It puts you in the category of, TED Talk, author, speaker. Before Amazon, Shaahin, you had to have a real book in a real bookstore before you had that sense of status. And now everybody's got a paperback book that's not really paperback. So it's really changed. So how is it that free publicity helped you back then? And is this still something that you do as part of your marketing mix?
So I tell the story in my book, Bart, and I think this is really interesting. It all came down to one fateful day where I had started my first company, and you guys can listen to earlier episodes of the Hack and Grow Rich podcast where I tell my story, or you can listen to me on Adam Carolla's show, which is coming up, or any of the 150 podcasts that I've done to date talking about how I took herbal ecstasy as a 15-year-old kid and created $1 billion in revenue from zero to $1 billion, from sleeping on the beach. So I tell that story, but I think what we're going to go into here is this one specific event where I had been in my office. I'd been told that we had broken the $1 billion point in revenue for this product, Herbal Ecstasy, that I had created. A lot of people loved us. A lot of people hated us. And I was doing all kinds of talk shows. I was invited to be interviewed by Sam Donaldson of Nightline. We had 2 Newsweek covers. We were on London Observer and New York Times and LA Times, every major publication. And we get a call from Montel Williams. Now, I got a tip off, I can't say from who, that this wasn't going to be a normal show and that actually it was going to be an ambush. So all my attorneys, all my advisors, everybody who I had working for me at that time, and again, I was in my teens or maybe early 20s, I don't remember, had told me not to do the show. But I had other plans. So I agreed to do the show, to go on Montel's. I had 800, this is pre-internet, Bart. I had our 800 number screen printed across my chest on our t-shirts. And I went on the show. Montel was very confrontational with me because at that time I'm Mr. Military Guy, and he'd have military men on every show and upstanding, very company man, towing the government line. And he didn't understand that I was actually on his side. I was trying to keep people from harmful drugs. And of course, that show was sponsored by Partnership for a Drug-Free America. And the first commercial that came on was some kid in an ambulance, convulsing from taking, I don't know, crack cocaine. And then they closed up on me. So we'll take a look at that. I think that's, really interesting. I'll do a little screen share here so we can take a quick peek and look into Montel. But I think at the end of the day, the story is, so here's Montel, decorated war veteran. Actually, interestingly enough, he dated Kamala Harris for a little while, our vice president. So good for him, man. He's I think done pretty well and got to date a vice president. So I don't know how many people would say that. She wasn't the vice president at the time. This was a while ago, but there he is,
He's a legit celebrity, and he's really earned. I mean, when you're on TV for 15, 20 years, you have a lot of fans. It's hard work. We've all been on those shows as a guest, and he even hosted shows. So I have a lot of respect for him. What I wanted to ask you is how it relates to our listeners. I want to get back to sort of how you kind of broke into this, which they said don't do it. Like, don't do the show. You're going to be embarrassed. I had the different angle. Is I didn't create $1 billion company. I needed the publicity. I was a nobody that was trying to be a somebody, which is probably most of our listeners, even if you have millions of dollar companies, is they don't know who you are. And so what you have to do is the strategy is you insert yourself into the news cycle. When I was on CNN and Larry King, I was talking about the handwritten note of JonBenet Ramsey. Like, the story wasn't about me, right? It was about the news cycle. What was in the news that day? Here's this murder. They need guests to fill the spots. Just like if they're doing a show on the death of herbal ecstasy, they need human beings to have a perspective. It's all bad. It's all good. And so if you can pay attention to what those news cycles are and be an expert in that field, then you're going to get publicity. I know friends of ours, Dr. Bruce, he's always on the doctors, like constantly, because he's the only sleep expert that they think about. And so when they Google sleep expert, he pops up. If you Google handwriting expert, I pop up. If you Google herbal ecstasy, you pop up as this guy. And so that is really the strategy to take away is you're not necessarily going to be the subject of your own documentary until you die. That's not the point. But when I was, and this was, I had to actually Google this to figure out when I was on Montel Williams' show, and it was in my first book, which was 1993. So it had to be 28 years ago, Shaahin, or more. Wow. So a long, long time ago. And I was like, what was on there? So I was on there because they had a panel about dating. And my first book was about dating and NLP and handwriting. And so I fit into the panel of techniques that were controversial about dating. Now, did it make me famous? No. But that logo has been on my resume for 28 years now. Montel Williams. And there's this unwritten rule about publicity is that if you are on CNN or Fox or Montel, you can use the logos. You can even use the clips in your demo reel. Like, they just don't care. Like, it is copyrighted, but there's this unwritten rule that says, you know what, it's publicity. It's like a movie reel, a demo reel. So that is a really good hack, is to put yourself in the news cycle. You just need an electronic press kit, and you need somebody reaching out saying, hey, you're doing a show on this. This guy would be great and controversial. And what made you a great guest, as well as me, is that we weren't vanilla. When we came on, we had a strong opinion, and the phones lit up. The people were glued to that set because what Montel wanted, and I can't speak for him 29 years ago, but he wanted a great show. I'm pretty sure him and his producers said, what's going to be the most entertaining hour we can put on TV? Yeah. Now, obviously, him and Oprah, they have agendas and they have personal preferences, but at the end of the day, they're presenting entertainment. So you put 6 vanilla hosts or vanilla experts, nobody wants that. So I'd rather have you that I sincerely get mad at, Shaahin. I'd really like to get mad as a host to you because I know that's going to be entertaining, even though now I may have a different opinion 28 letters. And I think that's what you're getting at. Do you think he still hates you 30 years later?
Well, we're going to find out. I hope not. He's selling CBD now. So if he's selling CBD, I would think that he would be compassionate towards me. Now, I was a different person back then. I'm a different person now. Maybe he's going to Google me again and find out some of the legal actions against herbal ecstasy back in the day and get back up on his high horse. I doubt it, Bart. Let's see what happens. Interestingly enough, he was actually at Metal, and Ken had him on as a guest of Metal International. So
Metal's this men's club we belong to with a lot of entrepreneurs, if you don't know the reference there. So he was at Metal. Did you get to talk to him? Because I don't remember him
I
being
did not get to talk to him, unfortunately. I would have loved to. I think he was very busy. But to your point, okay, so guys, I think what Bart is saying is if you want to do authority marketing, which is so critical, it doesn't matter what business you're in, if you're in handwriting analysis or real estate or any of those things, that's a really good way to go to build authority. Now, I took a different tactic. I wasn't interested in building authority. I had authority. We had created $1 billion in revenue. We were shipping out pills quicker than we could make them. We were literally printing money by making these pills for 25 cents and selling them for $20 pre-internet. Most of our sales were cash, all day, all night, selling these pills. Millions of dollars flowing in, over $1 billion in revenue created. Now, what I wanted to do was to create critical mass. And the way you create critical mass, here's the formula. It's different than the authority formula. Building critical mass requires controversy. You need to get extremes of emotion. Whereas with authority, you just need homeostasis. You just need, this guy is this, he is a heart doctor, here's a heart medicine, here's the information. With creating controversy, it's boom, this guy's the worst in the world. He's killing, midget elephants in the Congo, right? You want it as crazy as possible so that you can get the biggest reaction. It's like, you ever do that science experiment as a kid where you put baking soda? I did it with my kid. It's so fun. And you put vinegar on the top and then you shake the thing and the thing explodes. That's what you want, right? You want the Mentos version of that, where just
Coca-Cola.
The Mentos and the Coca-Cola version of that, where it just fucking explodes and you've got this critical mass. Now, when you get that wave, you got to be able to ride it. And that's what we did. We created this controversy. And I knew that. I knew that going on Montel Williams' show would be subjecting me to some very severe scrutiny. And by the way, guys, keep watching, because we're going to tell you how we are going to lure him in today, or how we may have already lured him in. But I'm going to show a little clip of this, and then we can talk about it. Bart, you think I should show a little clip?
Yeah. And I love the idea of authority versus this controversy, because you don't want to be an a-hole if you're trying to sell products directly to your customers. That's really authority marketing, is you're being kind, you're being authority. I love the idea that you are making controversy and then they talk about it because of that, especially if you own an industry. Remember, you're the industry leader. It wasn't about just your brand or just Bart Baggett or just my book. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is probably 25 years ago. Now, no one's going to recognize you, Shaahin, because you have hair. You have lots of hair.
This is not me, by the way. Can you see my screen, Bart?
You were identified as a her back then, but you switched to a they, and now you've gone to a him.
These are lies, Bart. I know you wanted to rant on that. So this is some angry mom. Her kid had allegedly taken some large amount of drugs, and she was in the middle of a major lawsuit, and they had somehow dragged her onto the show, sat me right next to her and told her, this guy makes the exact same stuff your kid dies on. So she was furious at me, but I had nothing to do with these people. And this was exactly the kind of tactics that they pulled in those days. My products never hurt anybody, not a single person. I can say this now, and I will stand behind this. All the years that I sold herbal ecstasy, not a single reported injury or incidents from taking our pills ever, which is one of the reasons why they were all pulling their hairs out. They didn't know what to do, but they did things like this. Like, they put me on the show. There's, I think, some FDA or some government dude there on there, and they're all railing about how bad drugs are. And then there's me. So it's guilt by association. But let's watch a little bit and I'll talk you guys through it. So here we go. Let me know if you can hear it, Bart. I may have to restart this.
Sean has said over and over again, this is an all-natural product that is completely safe, and he's got all the warning signs in there. Should we be running around buying this stuff? And this is sold through magazines and through an 800
Look at his face.
number across the country.
There's the government guy.
You don't even know whether or not your child is ordering this. Do you have an age
He looks like a
restriction on this,
government
Sean?
Well, considering that it is a food product, Montel.
Right. Check out the
no
T-shirt with the
regulated
800
discovery
number across
to an
it.
age restriction.
Nobody
So
noticed
we do
that.
send memorandums out to all our retail outlets saying that you don't sell this to anyone under 18. When you call our 800 line, if you sound like you're too young, they won't sell to you.
But if I'm 12 years old...
Okay, look at the look on the man's face on the right. That's universal symbol for contempt for any of you guys who watch Paul Ekman.
I don't know, something maybe for, menstrual cramps, and then that, who's going to stop me from buying it?
Exactly. You can also walk into a Save-On and buy ephedrine hydrochloride crosstabs. A 12-year-old kid can walk into a store and buy any type of chemical as well. There's has 4 times the amount of ephedrine that our product has.
Okay, so then if you're saying it's not right to buy that, then why should it be right for a 12-year-old to buy yours?
I'm not saying, I don't think a 12-year-old needs to take any type of products. We don't market our products to 12-year-olds. Our target demographics, the people who we've found from our research who buy a product, are from the ages of 20 to 35. That's
Really?
where our money comes from. Yeah,
And why is it that it's turning up in all of the teen clubs all across America? Your product in a little pyramid. All the little teen clubs.
Just a little cocky, right? He's just a little cocky about this.
That's a good point. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
First off, you understand the kids will do drugs, right? No matter what happens.
No.
It's an important point, Montel.
It is an important point, but you are a kid. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay, you're a kid. So why would you, at 20 years old, who is selling a product that you know, looking at yourself, if I'm 16 or 30, you know exactly what you're doing on this TV show today. You know that 12, 13, 14-year-olds that see you will think you're cool. You're the cool man who makes the thing. Let me buy the little pyramid box, and I'll take it too.
Montel.
Because it's all natural.
Montel.
And it's all good for you.
Montel,
we need to get
believe
something
me,
straight.
we've sold over 15 million units of products. I've got absolutely no need to sell to 13, 14-year-olds.
If you had no need, you wouldn't be on this show. So you obviously are here to sell that product.
Is your show marketed to 13, 14-year-olds?
No, but there are 13, 14-year-olds that watch the show.
The fact,
and you knew that before you came here.
Becomes government guy.
And tell me, I'm gonna get your question. Don't act like you didn't know.
Here comes the government guy, but check out the dad of the unfortunate kid that died with his Hitler haircut. That one's even more unfortunate.
Oh, bless his heart.
I'm marketing my product to 13 or 14-year-olds.
No.
Need to wear that
I'm saying
vest.
you knew
That's
very well
punishment.
what the demos of the show was before you came on it. That's why you picked the show to be here. We called you. You said, I'll do it. You're here. You know who's going to watch this TV, and you know that they will see this box.
Controversy.
And this box is
Confrontation.
appearing in teenage clubs across America because teenagers are taking it because they think it's all legal, and they look at you and say, he's just like me. You know that. Or you would have had some old businessman marketing the product.
this box contains
Like me.
He went into you, brother.
dangerous drugs. The fact that it's a natural product does not mean it's safe because natural products contain dangerous drugs.
Absolutely not.
Let me take a break. I got to take a break to pay some bills. I'm going to get your questions as soon as I come back. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to meet 2 young people who take these kinds of tabs. They do not take this ecstasy product. Which were you taking? You do take it. What do you take? You take it too. Let's talk about what it makes you feel like once we get back. We'll be back right after this.
Of course they take our pills. Everybody was taking our pills. And I had t-shirts for them. He made them take it off.
Oh, really?
Very upset. They're very upset about that.
They don't look very happy. They need more herbal ecstasy drugs.
Yeah, I think that show was interesting. So, what we did was I printed up hundreds of these shirts. I had people outside the line where they cast for these people and letting them in, getting their tickets. I gave them all shirts and we gave them all pills. And there was a point in the show where all the people stood up and our shirts were completely exposed and they cut that out. But somehow they didn't realize the 800 number. And I'm sitting there in this room.
They couldn't cut you out. You were talking.
Yeah, all these guys were yelling and screaming. There's a part where Montel goes, if you want to advertise on the show, I'm not going to read your 800 number. You're going to advertise on the show. You're going to pay $50,000 a minute because that's what I charge. I'm sitting there with a smirk on my face. My 800 number is across my shirt. The phones are ringing in our office in Venice. I've got 200 people in Venice. I hired extra people for when the show airs, all sitting there, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. $100 here, $100 here, $100 here. We made millions. So I would like to thank Montel Williams for being a very important part of my success. But that was it was a different time. It was an interesting time. And I think the thing that I'm trying to demonstrate is that there is a martial art called Aikido, which is very different from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo, and it shares some of the similar philosophies. But one of the most interesting takeaways that I had from Aikido, and one of the most famous practitioners is this guy, Steven Seagal. You've seen him in the movies. He's maybe a little bit heavier set now. Strange dude. Lots about him on the internet. But one of the principles of Aikido is being able to use your opponent's energy to divert him to fall on his face. And it's I'm simplifying the art. I'm not a practitioner of Aikido. I don't know that. I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And in Jiu-Jitsu, it's a lot the same too. And in this particular instance, they wanted to pigeonhole me. They wanted to capture me, put me in a box, and vilify me and smash me on the largest syndicated talk show of the time. And I took their energy and I rode that wave, and I used that to create millions of dollars in revenue. And it was spectacular. Dude, I'll tell you, in those days, I had women showing up on my door with beautiful women showing up at my door with gifts, marriage proposals. I had people buying me trips and like come on my yacht, and like people saw that show and were like completely enamored by the fact that I had the balls to go on there, and that I wasn't just sitting there just being like, I had a real gumption and a real relentlessness about me in those days. And I think that was something that people found very attractive. And I didn't let the bastards get me down.
I noticed is that you couldn't have cast the government guy better. I mean, you're the product, you're using the product, you're an inventor. All these 13 to let's say 30-year-olds are saying, do I want to be the government guy that's unhappy, or do I want to be the smiling guy that's marketing a product that's going head to head with Montel? Like, the government guy was just the guy everybody hates at the office. No one wants to be him. And even when he said you're wrong, you just smiled. Like, it was so cast so well. And I know it wasn't casting. I'm just saying, like, the archetypes really fit your brand. You were so on brand. I'm happy. I'm doing things. I'm bucking the rules. I'm bucking the system. I don't listen to government. Like, that is the brand of people that would do herbal ecstasy at that time. I mean, they sure didn't cast that intentionally to help you, but every hero needs a nemesis. And they sat you right next to him. And no one wants to be the chubby guy. Nobody.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. This is where I'm going to share my screen again. We could watch this again in tight. So this is the one where Montel invited me on the show, and he's reading the bottle, the pyramid box that our products came in, but he's not actually reading it. So look at this. I think he either had there was some issue going on where he couldn't read the box, but he was making it up. So there's your buddy.
Remember, he's blind in one eye for a while.
And Sean's sitting here saying that, well, my product's got it's got all the information on here and what to do now. 1 hour and 1 tablet in 72 hours. And we all know that, just like vitamin C, it says take 2,000 milligrams a day at the max, but a lot of us in this room will take 3,000 when we got a cold, 4,000 if we have a cold. So if I take one of Sean's tablets tonight and felt good, and I said,
I wonder how much of a CBD we can take.
And I'm going to take it again, and I'm going to take it again, and again, and again, and again. Or when I go out to a club, because I know people who use your product right here, Sean, who take 4 and 5 of these a night while they're in a club. If I took 4 or 5 of these a night, doctor, what would happen to me?
Well, this drug is a stimulant. It works like an amphetamine. It causes the adrenal gland to...
There's the angry mom.
It's like supercharging the body, and that is what people are using it for. That's why they're taking it. The problem with the drug, I want to make
it was so good, Bart. It was so good.
This product, even though it comes from a plant, the active ingredient is ephedrine. It comes from a plant called ephedra, and the Chinese called it ma wang. But the ephedrine is the drug, and it has a potential for killing you every time you take it. And the more you take of it, the greater the risk of death through either heart attacks or strokes or cerebral bleeds.
So now I just want to mention here that I am in no way recommending, and I know neither are you, we are not medical professionals. Before anybody takes anything, consult with your doctor. You can't even get ephedra anymore, so don't try. Nothing in this show are we trying to treat, cure, diagnose any disease. I can just tell you what I did. I took tons of that stuff, and it was spectacular. Nobody ever died from it. And people can die from all kinds of things, and we know it. But here's the more important thing. While this guy was speaking, and I was just speaking about this to Adam Carolla, they were covering the wrong issues. It was a different conversation. He was up there saying, this can kill you. Do you know, Bart, what the people on the other side on the other side of the TV were thinking, the people who were watching this?
Crack kills you faster.
No, they were thinking, holy shit, if it can fucking kill you, this stuff must fucking work. I am running to the local head shop. I'm running to the sex store. I'm fucking calling that 800 number right now to get some of this shit before these fuckers ban it. That's the first thing. To people, people's concern isn't that these things are dangerous, because everybody thinks they could handle everything. Otherwise, you wouldn't have people doing all kinds of drugs all the time.
Alcohol, any kind of drugs. And by the way, the backstory on this, if people weren't around, and I was pretty young. I never went to the Start Club because I was too young. But there was a time when ecstasy, MDMA, was actually not supervised by the government. You could get it over the counter at the bars. And because of that drug, which was obviously called the love drug, you can research, it's fascinating, when they outlawed it, it created this vacuum of people that wished they could get ecstasy. And Shaahin, you stepped in with a similar product that was not a drug, that did not cause harm, etc. And I don't even think MDMA probably caused much harm, but obviously if you went for 18 hours and didn't drink any water, you could dehydrate. But the backstory about that is, in case you weren't around when MDMA and ecstasy really came out, it was one of these drugs that everybody loved. It made you happy. It was called the love drug. And you found a formula that sort of duplicated it. So you're kind of on the tails of a generation that was already excited about ecstasy, and the government took it away. So you just had amazing timing. You and Bill Gates just nailed it.
We nailed it. And look, this is an amazing screen capture for you guys who are just listening to this. It's me with my long hair staring at the government man. And you can tell he's in a gray suit. He's got his pot belly. He had his bacon and potatoes and eggs for breakfast. And he's just sitting there with his indigestion staring at me, allegedly. And then there's me and the mom giving me that stank eye, right? And the Hitler dad is on the left with his Hitler haircut, and Montel there with his vest, his three-piece suit vest, standing there. So let's watch a couple more minutes of this.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
My question would be, is in this particular case towards the parents, or maybe the doctor can answer this, would there have been any effects leading up to it that either your son noticed or you noticed in your son that that might have caused this? Or did you notice it?
Well, he's not here, but Charles, you took this for how long?
On and off.
All right. Well, that's a guy. Again, what's in his hand? In his hand is my product. Who's sitting there in the middle? It's me. They're talking about something else. That's a cop who was bodybuilding. That's a bodybuilder cop who had a stroke from taking real drugs. Nobody is asking if that poor guy was doing anabolic steroids, allegedly. I don't know if he was, but that was a thing that people did who went to the gym, who lifted heavy weight. Nobody was asking any of these questions. All they were doing is this incredibly, it was almost perfectly orchestrated way of taking someone down. This, make no mistake about it, this was a takedown that was orchestrated at the highest levels. And I have that on pretty good information. I don't know if Montel was involved or not. He may very well have been, and we will find out soon from our way. So should we, Bart, go into how we are going to cast our line?
So this is fascinating, and I love the hacking. I love the idea that we can apply it to our business. But I'm curious because I read about Montel before the show. He got MS before he got out of the military as he was graduating, and he's been struggling with MS. And over the last 20 years, he has a great career. He lives with a level 4 or 5 pain every day in his feet and his back. He's really struggled, and because of that, in the last 8 years, he's become an advocate for marijuana and CBD. And so if you think about the fact that you literally invented the vape, you invented herbal ecstasy, you are the source of all the problems in the world, Shaahin. And now he's benefiting because you were 20 years ahead in your thinking of saying, why are we shutting down these natural things? Why don't you let kids have a natural experience? We don't want drugs. We don't want dying. We don't want overdoses. Do you think he's changed his mind? And how do we get a hold of him to find out? That's what we're going to do right now.
How cool would it be if we could actually get him on the show for an hour-long deep dig?
I'd like
that's our goal. I think that should be our goal.
If anybody knows him, reach out. Tell him 2 cool guys that respect him want to chat with him.
Okay. So maybe what we'll do is we'll hold on to this show for a while. So this is awesome, guys. We haven't had a show in 2 weeks. Last week, we had a really interesting thing happen, and we're going to go in shortly into this, but we had a guest who will remain unnamed out of respect, but who made a thread, which was really unusual. You know, you don't usually get people threatening a host, but it was just because
I think it was a sideways joke, but that's okay. It'll never air. On the topic at hand, is there a way now we're pretty well connected, we could probably make a few calls and get his publicist, but let's say that we're not well connected. How would you get a hold of a celebrity these days? Because you showed me something that I was not really familiar with, and I want to dig in to this thing called Cameo and see how we can use it for our own business or just for fun with somebody that you care about.
Let's do it. And so we'll go into this, and I will also share with you guys one life hack that I think you might appreciate, Bart. You may or may not appreciate it.
Why not?
But a buddy of ours just called us, will remain nameless as well, a lot of nameless people today. And he told us that he was doing TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and he's feeling like $1 million, living life to his extreme. So I have an all-natural way to boost testosterone for males that has set my testosterone up about 230 points, Bart, without using any supplements, any specific kind of exercise, and having to buy absolutely nothing. It's a zero cost way to do it. There's no products to buy.
Are you suckling bull testicle again?
Jesus, Bart, you got me. No, better than that. Better than that. It's super low cost. So we'll go into that. So stay tuned, you guys. So what I want to share with you guys is there is an awesome site that we discovered recently. Okay, I'm going to share this. Here you go. So this is Cameo for you guys who don't know. Can you see my screen, Bart?
I can see it. Some people listen to this on audio. It's cameo.com, C-A-M-E-O. And what I'm looking at is a whole bunch of celebrity photographs. And I guess for a few $100s, you can reach out and then they'll make a video for you. Is that what we're looking at, Shaahin?
Yeah, that's right. You can actually, they've upped their game now. So you can get, you can call, and there's Chris Voss. Amazing. So Chris Voss, the FBI negotiator, wrote the forward to my book, Billion, How I Became King of the Thrill Pill Cult. You can get him for $300 to make a message for you. There's Chris Hansen. Love Chris Hansen. There you go, from where he gets those poor Indian guys who like think they want to date like some they think they want to date some teenage girl, and he ambushes them, right? Is that guy?
Is that the guy from To Catch a Predator?
I think that's the guy, right?
I don't recognize his name, but that's creepy. George Wentz there.
Yeah.
So you think Montel's on here somewhere?
I think Montel might be on here. Look, Master P is on here. You've got all kinds of celebrities on here, and you could pay them.
Okay, there's Robert England. I have a joke about this. I had a girlfriend who used to tell me that, Bart, you look just like the guy who played Freddy Krueger.
Oh, man, really?
I said, that is not a compliment. No. I really love average-looking middle-aged white guys. Again, not a compliment. So that guy, Robert London, I need to get him to send me a birthday wish since we're apparently movie twins.
We'll have to do it. Look at that. Rob Van Winkle. Vanilla Ice is on there. I made a movie with Vanilla Ice in the 1990s also, which is amazing. So maybe Jerry Springer. Maybe we'll get Vanilla Ice next. I think I should be able to ask him to come on. So let's see if Montel is on here. This is our thing. Okay, guys, here we go. Boom! And there he is. So thinking a little ahead, guys, there's Montel. What does he want to do? Let's take
now. You just don't
3 days.
even know it.
49
We'd be able to
reviews.
send out a shout out to
$125, and you can get Montel to make a video for you. This is exciting, guys. I'm super psyched about this. Look at all these videos that he's done. He's pretty high in demand. He's got 4.9 in the reviews, 59 hearts in his fan club. I love this. Can I join the fan club? How do you join the fan club? Look, he's all these great reviews. He's got a fan club. So what we did is we went ahead. Now, I think, Bart, we got to be a little careful with this because we don't want him to think that, God, that somebody would be ambushing him. I would not ambush Montel. and truthfully, we just want to get him we want to get him to comment and, see what his reaction is really. So what we did is, we've already gone ahead and filled out this form, and I'll share it with you guys right now. So you
if you want to do this, there's a form that asks for your name, who's it from, what celebrity, and then you got like 70, 80 characters, longer than Twitter, but not much. It's like, what is it? What do you want to say? what's important about this? Happy birthday! He's turning 50. Something clever. And so you basically gave him a link to the video, so you can go look at it. I hope he doesn't take it down off YouTube. It's a pretty cool video where you're interviewed on Montel, and you were really kind. Hey, thanks for your service. You're a hero to me and my followers. We'll black out the phone number, obviously, etc.
Yeah.
But generally, it's a very nice. And again, we're not trying to ambush him, but I think what he'll say is, "Dude, I'm putting on a show. Like, I have a show to do every day, 5 days a week. Do you have any idea how complicated it is?" Like, yeah, we do one once a week. It's hard to get good guests. We absolutely know what it takes. I don't think you're going to get any pushback from him. But that's my guess, thinking that he has evolved and he was just doing a show. Do you think he's still going to get mad at you? What do you think?
I think that we are running 50-50 with Montel. I think he either is going to be super cool about it and be like, you know what, bro, I'm doing herbs too, and it can go both ways. But one of the things you got to remember, and I talk about this in my book, Bart, and I know that you and me have had conversations about this. I say this often. I say a couple things. Thing number one is that while you are sleeping, your enemies are planning your demise. I say this all the time to young startup founders and young people. I mentor people for this group called Founders Institute. It's the largest incubator and accelerator for startups, I think, in the world. They've got like chapters all over the world and hundreds of students, thousands of students. And I remind them that while you're sleeping, there's somebody else figuring out not only how to take over your business, but how to crush you. Okay, so that's as far as enemies go, unrelated. The second part of it is that if you want to be a person of power, if you want to be somebody who matters in the world, you are going to have haters. Bart, I know you have haters. I couldn't imagine, because you are a sweetheart of a human being and a kind person, one of the most empathetic people that, I know out there. Truly, I've never heard you talk bad about anybody. And
maybe in my stand-up, but I've evolved a lot. But I've been hated in this industry since I was 18 for no reason, because I'm on TV and they're not. I never figured out where this came from. But you're right. You do something great, people will have a reason to hate you, and I just learned to live with it and not give a crap many years ago.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. I don't know if he's going to hate me or if he's going to come at it from a place of humility and be like, hey, you know what? This was a long time ago. You had a lot of courage to come on my show. And, this is how I feel about things now. I'm a changed person. I'm a changed man. And, I'm open to dialogue and conversation and nuance. And let's talk about these things, because these things aren't black and white. Right? Herbal supplements might be for some people, they might not be for others. Somebody who maybe has a proclivity to taking hard drugs maybe shouldn't try any kind of drugs, even natural drugs. So here we go. We booked him right here, $135. So we're going to get Montel Williams. I put pep talk because I figured, it was like, do you want him to give you a birthday thing, or do you want maybe for him to, coach you on something? So I put pep talk. I put the video link. I said, thank you for your service to your country and to your viewers, give me a little nod. And then I said, hey, Montel, my brother, if you remember me, I was on your show in the early 1990s, Herbal Ecstasy. What's your opinion or rant if you still feel the same way now that you're a champion for CBD? I think this is very kind. I'm not attacking him. He can actually just talk a little bit about who he is. And there we go. I paid $125. And this will... Okay, it expires 7/29, so we will know.
Maybe we'll hold the show until we find out his response before we release it.
That might not be a bad idea. So I'm excited to see, and then possibly to even get him on the show. We had a little bit of difficulty last week, just technically, but
we had a lot of technical problems as well. Yeah, so if you know anyone else being the show, jump them on over. I'm at Bart Baggett on Instagram. Shaahin, you are easily findable on Instagram. And then your Amazon page, which is where most people go to learn about your Amazon course, is Amazon Mastery. Do I have that right?
That's right. You can go to FBAsellercourse.com or ShaahinShayan.com. For any of you guys who are interested, I run a course. I teach people how to create predictable recurring revenue on the Amazon platform by starting these Amazon businesses. I've been doing it for a while. Watch some of my other videos. I do Amazon acceleration work for Fortune 50 companies, famous people who have products who just don't know how to sell them, and people who have no idea how to create a product and they want help from A to Z. And I have a free 1-hour crash course. It's normally $200, but for listeners to our show, I will offer it to you for free. Just reach out to me on fbasellercourse.com. Go onto that site, fill out the form. I'm also willing to have a free 15-minute consultation with any of you guys. But before I do that, Bart, I think I got to tell you what the thing is. So this entire time I've been sitting here, I've been boosting my testosterone, unrelated to all things. Are you ready for the secret? I know you want to say this, buddy.
Because I don't want to know another Kegel thing. I'm not interested.
Better than Kegel, buddy.
Ice pack.
So ice pack.
Okay.
You don't want to use ice because regular ice is a little too hard. So you get these percolators. You can buy them on Amazon. They're about $5 a piece, or you can get them at CVS. And basically you ice your balls. You keep your balls on ice for 20 minutes, 3 times a day. I'm telling you, 230 points on the scale. When I tested it,
show with ice on your balls the last hour. Because that's impressive. Like, that is pretty good.
Allegedly. And it feels really good. It feels really good. I got to tell you, man, it feels like it's an absolute nootropic as well. So I'm just saying, I'm giving you guys a free tip. I'm not selling anything. I'm not telling you guys to buy Matcha DNA on Amazon. I'm not telling you to buy Accelerol. This is just a very simple hack. If you are a male, you want to boost your testosterone numbers, give it a shot. Again, I'm not a doctor. You know, talk to your doctor about anything you do, any new regime you do. Ice on the balls. It is a game changer.
That is an unexpected left turn. I did not see that coming. Here's my URL. Here's my Amazon cost. Now, ice your balls. That is not what I expected. If you guys want to read something to me, I actually have a new course called Life Design. If you want some help creating the belief systems and ideas and daily habits of successful people, go to Prism Life Design, PRISM, prismlifedesign.com or bartbaggett.com and reach out. Our team, we've got a wonderful set of people to help kind of create these habits. We talk about all these hacking, but there's ways that you can hack your schedule, hack your time calendar, hack your belief systems. And if you're still struggling financially, this might be a great shortcut for you. So, Shaahin, we are going to come back and kind of edit in Montel's response. We're going to see what he says, see if we can get him on the show, and then we'll come back next week with a whole new topic.
Or we might make that a whole new show, Bart. And depending on how he comes out, if he comes out swinging, like his son is an MMA fighter, maybe he'll challenge us to a cage fight. I know you've done Shaolin Kung Fu. I've done mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu.
Let's do a cage fight with me and you against Montel and his son. I don't think it's not fair to fight a guy with MS, though. That would be the controversy. And if we lose, now we're real schmucks.
We need a friend with MS. You know what? We've got disabled friends. I'm going to get Emmanuel Kelly to cage fight him.
I think we're getting into some really shaky ground here, politically correct-wise. Politically correct. Last week you made a joke we had to delete, and now we're having our abled friends, our unique. What did he say? Uniquely abled friends.
Uniquely abled friends.
So something's really wrong with us. We're going to cancel ourselves.
I love you, Stevie Wonder. That's all I have to say. Your music is amazing. You're an amazing human being. I love you, Stevie Wonder. I should not have made that joke on the show that will never air. But Bart, it's been super fun, man. I can't wait till our next show. This is amazing. Guys, reach out to Bart, get his Prism Life Design. Bart, is there a way, like, if I want all your shit for free, like just to like fucking just get all your books for free? I know you hate it when I do that. How would I get all your books for free, dude?
Well, you can't get all my books, but there's 2 that we put into a getbartsbook.com because we know a lot of people, even at $16, $18, is struggling. So getbartsbook.com, that is where you get the PDF file. You get access to that, and I think it's /SSRH, but I think it'll be in the thing. But either one of those, I mean, books are great. They'll start you down the path. But if you can afford some seminars or private coaching or come to one of our group calls with either me or one of our coaches, you're going to get change faster. But it kind of depends. Like, do you want to change slowly or do you want to change quickly? If you're poor and you can't afford anything, you're going to have to do it slowly by watching videos. But if you can afford to, immerse yourself in a weekend in an Amazon workshop like you could jump into the Amazon business in 6 weeks and not take a year to figure it out. I mean, it's all the same thing. That's why Tony Robbins gets $1 million a year to coach. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a Tony Robbins, but there is space where we can help you get there faster. Yeah, go to getbartsbook.com, download the book, get on my email list, open those emails, and come to one of our seminars, man. I think you'll dig it.
I love it. I love it. I've heard really good things about your seminar, so that's awesome. I got to come to one. All right, guys. So thank you for joining us, Bart. You are a gentleman. And, once again, guys, Reach out, make sure you subscribe and like the channel, comment if you disagree with anything we said, if you think we're politically incorrect, tell us why. If there's something we've said that's deeply offensive to you and your beliefs, then I think we've done our job. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week.